Hello once again, Niner faithful. Johnny Dell back with another episode of 49ers Playbook, the channel that's trying to answer the whys and hows of the game. We're going to dive into a scouting report on the Seahawks ahead of San Francisco's big divisional game this Sunday. I want to take a quick moment and thank my friends at the Gold Cast for inviting me onto their podcast this week to talk about the 49ers' performance against the Patriots and also preview this upcoming game against Seattle. Make sure to follow me on Twitter as I'll post the link for that episode once it goes live, and I'll also link their YouTube channel below. Seattle's offense has been off to an impressive start, while their defense has been on an equally impressively bad start. They're actually on pace to set an NFL record for most yards given up in a season. This week's matchup on paper would seem to be set up for a shootout. The keys for the 49ers to come away with a win will be to limit the explosive plays for Seattle's offense and make them execute down the field, while on defense taking advantage of Seattle's ends in the run game, lack of pass rush, and the lackluster play of their left cornerback, whichever one is playing. Divisional games are usually tough, and the 49ers-Seahawks games always seem to come down to a final drive. I believe if the 49ers defense can get at least 3 stops in this game, San Francisco comes away with a win. With that being said, let's dive into the film and take a look at Seattle's defense. First, we're going to take a look at a potential matchup problem for Seattle. If Deebo Samuel were healthy, this would look even better, but even with Samuel being out, I like the matchup of Ayuk, Kittle, or Bourne on Seattle's left cornerback, Dunbar, or even Trey Flowers if he's in the game. Let's take a look at Dunbar. He's been really bad in coverage this year, especially in deep third assignment, which is Seattle's bread and butter defense, cover 3. Here, it's 3rd and 11, and Dunbar is going to give up a 19-yard out route to Calvin Ridley. There's 2 things here. First, Seattle's pass rush doesn't get home. Second, Dunbar is obviously scared of giving up the deep ball, so he plays with a huge cushion well past the line to gain. Then bites on a slight post fake even though he's got safety help with no other route threatening, and gives up the out route. And just to show this isn't cherry picking, later in the drive he gives up a deep stop route to Julio Jones. Again, look at the size of cushion he's giving up here. At some point, you have to tighten the coverage, even if it is Julio Jones. If he's going to give up this kind of cushion all game, expect a ton of play action passes for stop routes against him. Kyle is going to attack this all day long because if the onus is on the underneath guys to gain depth and cover these routes, they have to play so passively versus the run game that it will be there all day. So just to show that our receivers can do this, let's see him versus New England, whose receivers we saw were nothing to be excited about. He's in off coverage in deep third. And look at the cushion he's giving up. Watch the separation. The ball is out late and it's an easy pitch and catch. He's been really bad in coverage this year, and it's really hurting Seattle's defense as they're having to shade coverage to that side. So what happens when he tries to play tighter coverage on the same guy? All New England does is run another stop route, and look at the separation. If Dunbar is in the game, we need to put Ayuk on him and abuse this matchup. So what if it is Trey Flowers in the game? I say we go after him as well. Here, Seattle is trying to shade the safety to the 2 receiver side where the vertical threat is greater. That leaves Flowers in more space, and they beat him with a simple post route. The possibility is there to go after this side of the field similarly to how Miami went after Brian Allen when we played them. If we can do this, it will open up everything for the offense. In the run game, I've been seeing Seattle's defense not staying sound in their gaps. Here, Atlanta is just going to run a wide zone and the D-line of Seattle just gets beat. Seattle, like us, plays a one-gap defense, meaning each player is responsible for one gap. Here, the one technique gets driven out of his hole while the 3 tech gets cut off. Opening up a huge hole for a cutback. To keep the theme rolling, here they are versus the Vikings. KJ Wright is in the Sam position, which means they have the young guy 57 in at will. Minnesota is going to run a simple 23 lead or 23 ISO, which is the halfback through the 3 hole with a lead blocker. This is as day one run game stuff as there is. The center and left guard are going to double down on the 1 technique, while the guard will look to work up to the will. The tackle kicks out the 5 technique, and the fullback will lead up on the mic. 2 things here. Because these linebackers aren't trusting their D linemen as much, they haven't played their gaps as aggressively, so I've seen them late in filling the holes. On these lead plays, the linebacker is supposed to aggressively fill the hole and stuff the fullback in the hole, not 4 or 5 yards off the ball. Wagner is slow in his fill, and the will is slow in his recognition and pursuit, which allows the guard to get up on him, and it's an easy touchdown for almost any running back in the NFL. Another thing I saw on film that's different from years past is that Seattle is blitzing more than I remember at any time, and they're getting burned by it. When a team can't get home with 4 rushers and their secondary is getting exposed, you'll often see them turn to the blitz to generate a rush. Here, Seattle is going to come with a zone blitz, bringing an extra rusher off the edge. Because their guys have struggled winning even 1 versus 1s, they have to try and disguise it, hoping to get a free rusher. The problem is, by trying to hide the blitz, they brought KJ Wright up on a wide receiver. He's trying to cover this guy on a quick slant over the middle, which is a bad matchup that Dallas is able to exploit for a huge catch and run for a touchdown. And here again, Seattle gets beat versus the blitz by Dallas. Again, they're trying to hide their blitz by having a defender travel with the motioning man to show man coverage, but they are going to come with another zone blitz with 3 deep and 3 underneath. Dallas is just going to run the Speedo concept, which has a clearing route on one side, followed by a deep over or crossing route. Dallas keeps a tight end and running back into block as well as use play action, something that we do a lot on this play. The problem with late motion when a team is trying to disguise it is you have guys shifting their zones really late and they have to be aware of their assignments. The way Seattle plays their coverage is like us. If a team comes with a deep over route, the Mike or Will is responsible for picking up that route. Here you see their middle defender covering grass, and after the catch, Trey Flowers takes a poor angle and Dallas is able to get another big catch and run for a score. And just to show it's not the Cowboys who have exploited Seattle on the blitz, New England beats them for a big gain here. Again, they're going to play this same zone blitz with 3 deep and 3 underneath. And New England is going to run a vertical trail concept, where they'll run a receiver up the field, then another on a wheel route behind it, occupying the area just cleared out. The way Seattle's defense plays this, the hook curl defender is supposed to match any vertical turning route after a vertical release outside, to guard against this concept. Which would be all good, except even with only 5 blockers and an offensive line that hasn't performed well this season, New England picks up the 5-man rush from Seattle with no problem, and it leaves the running back free to leak out into the flat all alone for a big gain. Blitzing is all well and good, but teams have to either scheme it right to get home quickly or play really tight coverage on the back end to help the blitz get home. Seattle hasn't done either one well, and it's telling to me that Ken Norton Jr. isn't blitzing much while putting his guys in man coverage. That tells me he doesn't have confidence in his guys versus receivers. That's why you're seeing so many zone blitzes. He's trying to help his unproductive pass rushers and coverage guys whom he doesn't have confidence in. When it comes to Seattle's offense, the concepts are simple, but the execution of which is definitely not easy by any means. The keys will be to limit the explosive plays and take away the deep passing game while stuffing the run. Seattle has made their living this year with the deep ball and an effective enough run game. Where they haven't been as productive is the intermediate rhythm passing game. Here, the Vikings are going to play cover 4 to protect against the deep pass, while Seattle is going to run a variation on a switch verticals concept. The switch verticals looks to have a deep post and a deep corner route to try and beat this coverage by trying to get one of the deep defenders to bite on their man. Here, Seattle's going to run both guys as if they're going to switch deep, and then they both break out. They're trying to get one of the 2 deep quarter defenders to drive on the opposite route. Minnesota stays disciplined and Russell Wilson has to eat a sack. The key will come down to execution. Here, Dallas is going to run cover 4 as well, but they just blow the coverage. All Seattle has is a post route from Lockett, which should easily be defeated by having 4 defenders deep. However, Dallas's defensive backfield locks onto the underneath and just lets Lockett go. That's making it way too easy for an offense. So you can see 2 teams playing the same coverage with vastly different results. The key is execution of the calls. Staying disciplined and keeping everything in front of you. Make Seattle execute all the way down the field. Then, when you do force the 3rd down and the underneath throw, you have to come up and make good tackles. Here, Arizona has Seattle in 3rd and long, and they're going to play a soft cover 2. All Seattle does is have Metcalf on a short crossing route. If a team is going to play this soft on 3rd down, you have to come up and make tackles. That is something our team has done really well this year. It's come up and make solid tackles. Execution of simple, fundamental things will be huge to containing Seattle's offense. All in all, I think it'll be a tough game and will probably come down to the end, and probably take a few years off all of us fans' lives, as most 49ers Seahawks games tend to do. I've got to go with our guys on this, as you will never, ever hear me predict a Seattle win. I think our offense will have some big opportunities to put up some big yards in this game. If they can, I believe the defense will only need 3 stops to win the game. If we can exploit Seattle's weaknesses on defense and limit their explosiveness on offense, we have a good chance to narrow the division to just 1 game between all the teams. Shanahan has been on a hot streak with his play calling, and I don't see Seattle slowing him down. This is the most important and difficult stretch of games the 49ers have this year, and a win here would really make things interesting the rest of the way. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and if you'd like to support the channel in any way, I'll have links for that below. As always, you can interact with me on Twitter, Reddit, 49erswebzone.com, on the forum, or in the comments below. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy, and go Niners!